music is a huge part. Not only is it part of the movie just in like the storytelling, but it also is one of those things that just sets it apart from the rest of the MCU. From the very first moment where we get to meet Peter and his mother Meredith, she's giving him this tape. That movie ends with a dance battle and everyone coming together. The second movie starts with another great kind of flashback to the 80s and Mr. Blue Sky, and it pushes us forward with the characters until we get there. And in this movie, kind of starts a little bit differently. You know, you mentioned how you really loved how they started off with that focus on Rocket and then the music of Creep by Radiohead, that kind of acoustic play. What did you think of that?
Oh yeah, so you like listen to the lyrics of Creep, and I think it almost perfectly describes so many characters in the Guardians group. Of like, yes, they found each other, they became friends, then they became a team and a family, and they're on Nowhere now. But they still haven't dealt with their own like personal underlying like issues and their sense of like not belonging, especially Rocket, who has been like created to be the way that he is. He wasn't born that way.
In the first movie, they come together, but they really don't resolve their issues. They just decide like, oh, we're worth coming together.
Yeah,
And that's kind of where that ends. And in the second movie, you get to see them be challenged and tested. Where like they're clearly a force to be reckoned with. They can defend the sovereign and do all these amazing things, but then they start to deal with some like fissures and fractures of Peter choosing his blood family versus the chosen family. And then you obviously have all the events of Endgame and Infinity War that kind of split them into different places. Now they have to deal with all that stuff that they never dealt with. They never dealt with it in the first movie. Yeah. They just said, you know, we're it's kind of like real life. You know, you think of when you're dating a girlfriend or a boyfriend or making friends. You decide like, hey, this is worth my time to invest in. But then down the road, you still have to deal with the things that come up. And I thought the topic of music was interesting because the moment Creep starts playing, and I know the song so well, it's one of the first songs I learned how to play on guitar, of the I Don't Belong Here. I don't belong here. I think every one of those characters has felt, especially in this movie, like, I don't belong here. I don't belong in this group. And then the music continues to go out throughout the whole movie, the soundtrack. It really speaks to more of like the grunge of the early 90s, but really it started in the mid 80s. And when you look up like grunge and what is grunge music, one of the first hits on Google is that it speaks to dark trauma or more mature content. And I would say that this movie speaks to more mature content and dark trauma, the way that grunge music does. So I think it's really cool that the music sets the tone in the beginning, but then it just continues to drive that tone while still being significant. It was the next